Global warming and extinction of species. This is going to be a two-parter. My first half an hour of philosophical crap. I don't usually do anything on Saturdays because it just isn't very convenient. But things are moving so fast that I have no choice. I was going to do a big support piece, support of Wallonia for holding up Ceta, and I understand they've already caved in before I could blink an eyelid. Blink an eyelid? I don't know. I'm not quite certain. It's just the headlines. I haven't had time to read them. There are so many, and again, there's even a bigger headline, I think, that I've only seen and I haven't yet read. But in AS Technica, Sebastian Anthony is reporting that Google AI invents its own cryptographic algorithm. No one knows how it works. Now, this should be the second biggest headline today. I mean, everybody freak out. That's beginning of the end. Third biggest headline, it will be that the UN is going to vote on banning nuclear weapons. With of course every country with nuclear weapons opposing any sort of vote on the subject. But of course it's not going to change anything yet. But it's always a beginning to at least say what is right. That's the first step, and it is very nice because the majority of the world is going to say this was a bad idea, and it's nice considering that all the geniuses who came up with all the science that made these awful things possible, they were every woman Jacqueline and every man Jack of them against using this technology on weapons and their discoveries on weapons. So it's nice that after 70 years, the world as a community is going to say, bad freaking idea. Then I don't know, the biggest headline always, I don't know until what time, is gonna be this horror in the Middle East, and actually with the EU sourcing its refugees to Turkey, which record of who with its own citizens, it is not all human rights record is not all that cool. Is supposed to be taking care of all these refugees. I mean, again, I don't get any reports. How are they doing? But it must be something awful. And certainly the Middle East, not just Aleppo, now Mosul, with poison in the air, Afghanistan, and especially Yemen. It is hell. There isn't any imaginary hell, talked about in some ridiculous fairy tale book. This is hell. And we are all responsible. Again, a total failure from mankind. But then on the other hand, we're actually completely annihilating other species, living species, faster than one can count. We are living our true low point, which again, I'm pretty sure we're not going to make it. We're not going to live through. Certainly some of the news seem to point into that direction with Brazilian pollution levels rising, and the leading the leading shipping conglomerate of the world, in the world, not getting halfway of cutting emissions. When it comes, if it comes, the end, one can certainly say, that this is for all those people who suffered and died because we didn't care in the Middle East. We deserve it. Anyway, if possible, I would be doing this in my beach shorts by the pool, to show support to Bernie Sanders. I didn't know anything before these WikiLeaks. I had missed it the first time. Jordan Chariton from TYT Politics, well, thank goodness somebody's reading these WikiLeaks, said that they needed 100,000 subscribers. They want to get to 100,000 subscribers before the election. Please, everybody, subscribe. I too, I don't believe in subscriptions or likes or anything. I subscribed, and then some other nice sites as well, while I was at it. And I think they got to 100,000 subscribers, within 24 hours or so. But I too subscribed, even if I don't believe that. But they too, when reading these WikiLeaks, they've been trolled not just by your professional assholes, but people who are disappointed Bernie supporters and trying to burn Bernie in effigy, and I cannot understand that. I have no idea what they would have wanted Bernie to do. There was massive election fraud, to say the system is rigged. Everybody knows that. There was massive election fraud. The United States itself, if this primary would have happened in some other country, the United States government would not have recognized the result. It was completely and utterly false. The election, the primary was stolen. We don't know who won. I say Bernie. I'm pretty sure he did. But certainly there should have been a re-election, a re-primary. That's beyond any doubt. Nobody was interested. Again, TYT is going to play a part in all this, in this conversation I'm going to have, eventually. so again, one can bring them up. Cenk Uygur seemed not to care. Hillary won. Let's move on. I think he and many others, they're blinded by this idea of is it the 28th amendment? I can't remember, but anyway, new amendment, wolf pack and so on. I would actually, again, they're asking everybody to join. I would join TYT, but I'm a politically minded foreigner. It would be highly unethical. If you open a branch, TYT Europe, I'll apply for a job. But I think Cenk and others, they're blinded by this idea of 28th Amendment and whatever new amendment, or to get money out of politics. I don't really understand that. Again, because they control everything, and with the help of corporate media, the U.S. elite has been wiping its butt with the Constitution for the longest time. They're not on daily basis following most of the amendments. So why wouldn't they get around the 28th? It can say get money out of politics, but they'll find some way of getting around that, and the corporate media keeps everybody thinking something else. And if you put all your eggs in one basket, you don't care of massive election fraud because you want this 28th amendment or this new amendment, and if that amendment is not going to do anything, you put your eggs in one basket, then what are you going to do? I don't understand it. But anyway, nobody was interested. It's like, the Kennedy assassination or JFK assassination. Everybody claimed to love him. They were shocked to the core when he was shot. Okay, Oswald could not have done it. You cannot change laws of physics. But let's move on. It's the same thing here. Okay, election stolen. Let's move on. Everybody's too busy to actually care for all the minutiae. And I'm pretty sure that Bernie and his people, they were shocked to the core that Clinton, that Hillary's bunch were allowed to steal California. But they were. So what did they? And it's pretty much the same thing as with Elizabeth Warren. I'm pretty sure she had to make a deal to be able to continue, reasonable work in the Senate. I think she had to make a deal that she won't support Sanders in Massachusetts if she is not forced to support Hillary from the very beginning. So anyway, now, what should Bernie have done when he was cheated out of his victory? I mean, he can't be all the officials, all the intelligence officers, and all all disgruntled voters all together. Since nobody helps. He has promised to support the eventual Democratic nominee, and if he doesn't, he'll be outcasts in the Senate, and he can't do anything. Again, I think I've stated, I would have said, okay, you cheated, you didn't hold up to your part of the bargain, all right, I'm not going to hold up to mine, I'll team up with Dr. Stein and do a serious third-party run. But again, if somebody is able to steal a primary, why wouldn't they be able to steal with the help of corporate media, the general election? And, you're pretty much only possibly starting a new civil war, which the United States is very good at that. Very bloody in that. But with nuclear weapons, nobody wants that. So anyway, the best thing to do is to support Hillary, to keep your promise. That's not nothing. Then continue reasonable work in the Senate, be one of the few people actually doing any work in the Senate, and hold Hillary's hoofs in the fire, when her administration is trying to backtrack anything progressive that has ever been discussed. As an older gent, I think that's exactly what he should have done. So I really cannot for the life of me understand what these people are upset about. And again, TYT, the corporate media in the United States, and now to South Korea, where I understand that the president is in, and again there may have been lots of developments, but I haven't had the time to read. But the president was in certain trouble. Park Yen-hee, again I don't know how to pronounce. These two-parter that I'm doing, it could be Ignorance 3, because I don't know nearly enough about Asia either, because there is not enough information. This South Korean situation, because it is about corruption, it seems rather interesting to me. I've always wondered why how North Korea could become North Korea. How can any society degrade like that? It would be interesting to know more. In the same way, South Korea, one should have thought that it had all the makings of the most advanced and civilized country on earth. But this sort of corruption, again with economical leaders, it doesn't fit that. But then on the other hand, young people being able to be on the streets protesting their president, that is actually as civilized as we can get. So perhaps everything and information and all of this works well in at least in South Korea. Does it work in Japan or rest of Asia? How does it work in Australia or New Zealand? Would be interesting to know. But in Europe, all right, and this is something that I'm gonna continue on in part 2. All right. So, end of part 1. Bing.